What's going on, Sports Nation? I'm your host, Kenneth Tiberius Clark, and I want to welcome you guys to another fabulous episode of the Sportsclusive Podcast. Right now, before I get to the topic of today, a quick story. So, I want to say about 2 months ago, I'm getting off of work. It's a long day. It's pretty tired. And what do we do when we get off of work? We usually get in bed and, we get on TikTok, which is dangerous because it's so consuming. Once you start, you just don't want to stop. So I get on TikTok and I'm scrolling through videos and I get to one video where it's two kids on a mat, boy and a girl. This is like a Jiu Jitsu match. And, of course it's unfair, right? Because, the boy is bigger, stronger, so we would think. But as I continue to watch this video, this little girl, she puts him in a headlock. She trips him. And then she puts him in an arm bar. And, I was so perplexed. I said, you know what? I need to see more. So I go to her profile, which is known, she's known as the Jiu Jitsu princess. Her name is Zoe. And I'm watching videos for the next hour of her technically and methodically beating kids, both big and small, boy and girl. Some of these kids are leaving crying. So I said, you know what? I have to get her on the Sportsclusive podcast. So I reached out to her mother, Victoria, and we were able to make it happen. So I got Zoe and I got her mother, Victoria, on right now. All right. How are you guys doing? What's going on?
How are you doing? How are you doing?
How are you doing?
No, how are you doing? He's asking you. Say good.
Good.
Doing good.
You doing good? Well, yeah. So I know you guys are in Texas, right?
Yes, we're around the San Antonio area.
San Antonio area? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so like I said, I know it's about 3:00 and I know Zoe's probably done had school and everything. Do you have practice today? Any practice today?
Yes.
No?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So then let me go ahead and really appreciate this time. But obviously I got some questions for you guys. So first, obviously Miss Victoria, you're a mother. I think the biggest question I had for you is, parents put their kids in a lot of different sports, soccer,
right,
basketball. What made you choose jiu-jitsu for Zoe? How did that come about?
It was more her dad more than me. Okay. It was more for a self-defense kind of thing. So we actually put her in when she was 3. And she really didn't care for it at the beginning. I mean, most 3-year-olds don't really want to do stuff like that. So it wasn't until around 4, a little bit after 4, she started getting into it. And around 5 is when we started actually letting her compete because she wanted to compete.
Wow.
So
yeah. So it was just something that just grew. Now, did she do anything else, other sports, or was jiu-jitsu the only thing?
No, we tried getting her into sports. We tried doing gymnastics with her. She didn't like it. We tried doing just other sports. We're going to try to do wrestling. But when we did wrestling with her, she was still young. So she didn't understand the concept of some things you can do in jiu-jitsu, some things you can't. So I guess the biggest problem with the wrestling was that with wrestling, you can give up your back. In jiu-jitsu, you cannot.
Okay.
So we had to, so we had to pull her out of that for a little bit. We're actually going to be getting her back into wrestling and probably soccer now. So we just kind of go with her on that. If she wants to do something, we let her try it. It's kind of like whatever she wants to do is kind of how we go about things.
Which is cool. A nice, or I would say organic. She chose jiu-jitsu in an organic way.
Well, she chose to compete in an organic way. Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. So over time, obviously,
we put her, we put her in it, but she chose the competition part. And so like all that stuff that she does, all the hours that she puts in every week, all the one-on-ones that she does, everything that she does is her choice. Like we don't force her to do any of it. We don't believe in that kind of stuff. So, she would rather go to a competition versus going to a theme park or doing stuff like that. So that's all her choice right now.
So, and that's good. So, what age would you say she was? Because she's 6 now, right?
Right.
How old would you say she was when you say where you and your husband were like, or her father were like, she's like good. Like what age did that light come on for you guys? It's like, yo, this is just an
She
activity
was
anymore.
around, yeah, she was around 4 when it just clicked on with her one day, and she just started
Uh-huh.
picking it up really well. So
Wow.
it was probably like maybe a little bit after 4, like a couple months after 4. It just one day just clicked on her. So like if parents ask us like, hey, what age do you think that you should do it? Da, da, da. And my answer is always, put your kids in there for self-defense first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll just understand one day when I tell you it just clicks for them. The parents themselves will understand like it really is just that moment. They're like, I like this. I know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing. They're fluid with their motions. It just
Mm-hmm.
kind of one day you know, just clicks on it, and then once she realized that these people compete, and get medals and all the other stuff, her being 6, she's still reward driven.
Wow.
So
Wow.
once she saw, oh, you get shiny stuff with it, then after that, it's kind of like, she started competing. So now what she does is we travel with her to compete. So we travel outside of Texas a lot.
Wow. 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 And that's good. Like I said, I think anytime you, especially as a kid, when you like something,
Mm-hmm.
you're better at it. And as an adult too, anything you like, you're
Yeah.
more prone to excel in. So I'll ask you, Zoe. This is the question I have for you. Why do you like jujitsu? Why is jujitsu fun to you?
Because you get to do like a lot of fun stuff and everything. Like you can do lots of fun stuff in jiu-jitsu.
Like what?
Uh-huh.
Like you can like
Make friends.
Make friends there.
Travel.
And you can travel and everything. You get to fight people. So that's pretty fun to me. Yeah.
I like that. You get to make friends and fight people. That's
Yep.
gonna be my new philosophy as an adult. But no, I like that. Okay, so for Miss Victoria, so okay, how I think this is a big question. How does she train? Is it? I mean, because I know there are schools and things of that nature, or does she do more of a one-on-one type of deal with a personal private coach? How do you guys go about training her?
So okay, so right now she we have her with 2 different gyms, and
Mm-hmm.
the reasoning for that is to have more of a variety of kids to match up with, because she
Mm-hmm.
is so small, and
Mm-hmm.
and she's still young. um it's hard for us to find kids for her to get a match with on her size level, her weight level, and her age level,
Mm-hmm.
and her technical level. It's very hard. So her main gym right now is GFT Black Label in San Antonio, and
Mm-hmm.
then the other gym that we go to is Unity in Elmendorf, Texas, right on the south side of San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and both of those gyms are awesome. They're great. But her also her one-on-one coach, Danielle Walker, she just got her black belt, and she is
Ooh.
absolutely amazing. She goes to all the IBJJF tournaments, and she's won every single time that she belt promotes. She wins her division gold medal, double gold, and she yeah, she's a three-time world champion. So that's her main one-on-one coach right now.
Mm-hmm.
She also does wrestling. So really good coach that we have her with right now. She also is trained with Eddie Ferreira, does more MMA style kind of stuff, but he
Mm-hmm.
helps her with a lot of her jiu-jitsu as well. But I mean, it's a lot of working parts to getting her to where she's at, and obviously getting her, more trained.
And you said something very key, because obviously watching your daughter, I didn't feel like I was watching it like a 6-year. I'm like, man, this is too almost scary because she's very technical. Do you guys
Right.
feel like sometimes you almost have to like chase or find someone skilled enough to really challenge her in that way to make her better?
Well, the problem with jujitsu is because she's so young. Depending on what kind of tournament that we get her into, like IBJJF is a big corporation for jujitsu itself.
Okay.
So unfortunately when it comes to that kind of competition, we don't have a choice, of moving her around. They go very specific on the weights. You can't be even an ounce over the max out weight that they allow. They go within the year of the kid. So everybody in 2016 or 2017, they're all grouped together, and that's how they choose the fights. They have to. Yeah, but with our local ones, they're a little bit easier to. They're a little easier to get her more matches. So what we started doing, and the reason why she is a lot better, is because when we put her in the local ones, we usually move her up in weight and age.
That's
so
smart.
she was 5 year old. She was 5 years old fighting 7, 8, and 9 year olds.
Oh, beating them.
Yeah. And then they were
Wow.
anywhere from 40 to 59 pounds that she was fighting. So a lot of why she is so good is because we never put that cap on her to keep her in that. If we had an option to, we never kept her in that you're only going to fight your own weight and your own age. Like we tell her, and her coach Danielle tells her all the time, to be the best, you have to beat the best.
Beat the best. That's a fact. Wow.
So with her, it's kind of like, she doesn't win everything that she gets, or, every competition that she goes to, but I guarantee you she leaves everything she has on the mat and she's tried her best. But a lot of the competitions that she has lost, there are to older kids.
Wow.
So, that weight, for them being 6, 7, or 8, a 5-10 pound difference, that is a very big difference with kids. So sometimes that weight factor just gets the best of her. But, there's a lot of times that, she'll get the better of them.
Right. Wow.
So it really just depends.
Yeah. So, I mean, and once again, that's once again very, very smart for you guys, because, this is her at 6. I mean,
yes.
Sheesh, I mean, at 8 and 10, it's gonna get pretty dangerous. So,
right.
so Zoe, this is my question for you, right? So you train. What is your favorite move? Do you have a favorite move that you like to use on, when you're fighting these kids?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which
what is that?
Kimura.
Ooh, Kimura. Right. So is that how you win most of your matches, or is it an armbar?
Armbar. Most of the matches I went by armbar.
Wow. How long would you say it took her to learn these specific moves? It took a long time?
The armbar, she picked up on that one pretty quick. The Kimura is pretty new to her, but that is her coach's favorite move. That's what her coach is known for, is doing Kimura. So that's a newer move. But a good thing with her is when she learns something new, she tries to go out there, and that's going to be her end move. So she does, like when she first started, it was getting the rear naked choke. That was her go-to move on all of them. And then it became the armbar, and now it's the Kimura. It's just, once she gets something in her pocket, she uses it.
So she's at a place, so just so I'm clear, she's at a place right now where she understands going into these matches. She has a plan. She's not just trying to move. She knows how to set her opponents up. Zoe's like, yes, I do. I have a plan every time.
Yeah, she's pretty, and that's the thing with her. Like, she's already to the age, like, she doesn't need to be coached as much, so her main coach that's with her all the time is her dad. So he normally just sits there. Like, every once in a while he'll have to yell out, hey, there's an arm there, get the arm bar. There's her back's up, get her back. But 9 times out of 10, for her being 6, she's pretty on it when it comes to seeing an opportunity and open back, or seeing an arm sitting there, seeing this and that. She's pretty well rounded enough to understand, like, oh, that opportunity came, they're done.
Wow. That's good. That's really good. So, okay. So then here's another question. So obviously, once again, she's 6. What is, would you say you and her father are just going with the flow of things, or is there an actual end goal? Are you just going to let it branch out wherever she goes? We looking at Olympics?
Okay. I'll actually let her answer that, because she does have an end goal. What's your end goal? What do you want to do with Jiu Jitsu?
I would love to be a world champion and own my own gym.
There you go.
She said own her own gym?
Yes. That's her end goal, is to be a gym owner one day.
I love it. Well, okay. When you own your own gym, Zoe, can I come and can you Train me, teach me jujitsu. I love it. As long as you keep that promise to me.
Yep.
So, okay. So then, Zoe, do you have a favorite? You know, I know you have a coach, but do you have a favorite jujitsu fighter that you watch?
Yes.
Who is that?
Professor Danielle Walker's.
Danielle Walker. Oh, that's your favorite jujitsu fighter.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, Miss Victoria. So, okay, here's a question. What advice would you give parents who are thinking of putting their daughters in jujitsu? Because I mean, the truth is, it even though we self defense, it's a combat sport. What
Right.
advice would you give those parents that are a little bit reluctant to do that?
I always I actually do have a lot of mothers that do, like, even on TikTok they'll comment on her, like, why would you do this, or how do you get this in
Mm-hmm.
there, or how do you stomach my biggest one is how do you stomach letting her go on the mat knowing that she could possibly get hurt, this and that. So
Right.
I always tell them, first and foremost, it's a daughter. You are
Mm-hmm.
not going to always be around your daughter, obviously, at school, or field trips, anything like that. You would like for her to have a sense of self-defense.
Right.
And when the kids first start off, it's not necessarily a combat sport. They're learning moves that's really
Right.
slow. It's not, you're not jumping in there doing MMA style stuff. And I think a lot of
Right.
the
Right.
moms or a lot of parents think that you're just throwing your kids in an octagon cage and letting them go at it with each other. It
Mm-hmm.
takes those kids at least a good year, before they get any moves that they're able to, go against another kid, and
Right.
when they're in the class, when they're going against another kid, a lot of it's really just, play acting. A lot of it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, it takes years for them to get to that point, or even then for them to get comfortable enough to compete on a mat out in front of everybody, and
Right.
another thing
Confidence.
too. Yeah, confidence. That is a very big confidence boosters to little girls, is to know,
Mm-hmm.
wow, I can go out there and I can compete against another girl, or I can compete against another little boy, and I can
Boy.
defend
Yeah.
myself. You know, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
very big thing for little girls nowadays. I don't have to wear dresses, or I can just wear, I can also wear dresses. I can go to Disney and still go on the mat next day and beat
Mm-hmm.
somebody up or defend myself, and I
Yeah.
think that they, that confidence would, should be first and foremost in most parents' eyes. Is, I want a confident kid. Now, I do wish
Right.
there was more, little girls that were in the sport. This is a very male dominated sport, as
For
most
look for
see.
now.
Yeah, for now. But I really wish there
Uh-huh.
was more, little girls in the sport. So if I meet somebody and they ask me, like, hey, well, what do you think about it? Or how do you not, how do you as a parent not get upset when you see your kid, not winning or not doing well? It's kind of something you just learn to deal with. Like, there's referees there for a reason. They're not going to let it go
Right.
too far. Most of
Right.
these kids, and once you get into it, you kind of learn, like, you're not going to get, 6-year-olds doing leg locks.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to happen.
Right.
It's kind of like they have levels to what they can and can't do, and,
Mm-hmm.
rules and stuff like that. But, it's a good confidence booster. It makes the little girls think outside the box. Like, okay, I can go beat somebody up at 5 and be, home, be able to make dinner or whatever at 8.
No, I think that's good, and I think competitive sports across the board, whether it's jujitsu or soccer or anything, I think it's really
Mhm.
good for kids' development.
Right.
To
And I
succeed at something, to fail at something, like I think that's good.
Yes, and that's one thing you will get with jujitsu. And the funny thing with jujitsu, for it being an individual sport, it is a very, very big family based sport. You know,
Really?
your
Okay.
your your gym becomes family. You see these people every single day. They become family. Essentially. So it's kind of funny when you think about it. It's an individual sport. You're going out there for yourself,
Hmm.
but you also have your coaches, your parents, your teammates right there behind you, yelling at you, cheering you on. It's a very family oriented sport, and I don't think a lot of people do understand that it takes a lot of working parts to get even one good competitor on that mat.
And you know what? What you're saying that's absolutely the truth. Because I've even noticed that, even though it's different, I've even noticed that with like the wrestling community. Those guys are like
Yeah.
tight
Yeah.
knit, but it's because they all like if we see you said something else, Key, it takes a lot of moving parts just to put out one good person. Like we're seeing
Correct.
people that are competing at a high level, but how many their teammates has had to whoop their butt or do other
Yes.
things just for them to learn and be great. Yeah.
Exactly. And then, and a lot of things like like she has preferred, sparring partners. And
Mhm.
that's because, she'll get she gets a better role with them.
Of course, yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's kind of like we had to get her into that mindset. Like you can't just go with the easy ones because that's not fair to them. They're not learning.
Right. You got
You
to
need to
challenge
get with
yourself.
somebody that you're both learning.
Right.
You're both learning how to be technical, and that is her biggest issue right now is finding somebody that's as technical with her. But then when she finds that technical partner, not to get upset because somebody's more technical than her.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of like, well, you have to get
Mhm.
to that point that y'all are both technical. Y'all are just rolling and it's fluid.
So then, okay, so here's a good question. So we've seen many examples of this in history.
Mhm.
Oftentimes, and well, what's my podcast? I'll be transparent. In certain communities, they'll get upset if a child is a little too talented. Have you guys ran into those challenges where maybe you went to a certain competition and people are like, we don't feel like it's fair that Zoe is competing against. Have you guys ran into that?
We honestly, we get that so often, it's not even funny. It is crazy the amount of hate that an adult will throw at a 6-year-old child. It is beyond me how much hate an adult will throw at a child. It's absolutely absurd. Because it's
Uh-huh.
kind of like, well, why does she have this belt and they're putting her with this belt? They're all within the same color of belt.
Right.
And with most of it, we don't put her with her own age group if they're locals because of that fact. Like, I don't think that I feel good. We don't ever put her in a competition to just go win a medal. Never are. I could care less if she wins the medal.
It's about
I
challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about the challenge. So no, 9 times out of 10, we're not going to put her with her own age group unless we absolutely have to. We're not going to put
Mhm.
her with her own age group because we understand what that looks like.
Right.
And no, we're not going to have her over there looking like, she dominating and just rolling over folks. That's not a
Uh-huh.
challenge for her. She's not learning anything. And at the end of the day, it's just not a good look.
Uh-huh.
So no, we don't normally put her, it's crazy to me. But sometimes, with competitions, they make her go with her own group. And at that point, it's kind of like, okay. But the funny thing that I don't think the parents see, for her being 6 years old, she knows that she can put pressure on a kid, but not too much. And that's not something
Okay.
that we've taught her. That's not something that we tell her. We don't ever tell her, don't go too hard on this kid. I think she just kind of feels it. Like she understands that they're not as technical as her. She knows that she has to put it on them, but she also knows not to the point that everybody's embarrassed.
That makes sense.
And
Zoe,
I
you don't
don't
want
think,
to I was about to say, Zoe, you don't want to hurt the kids, no?
nope.
No, I don't want to hurt them.
So, and I don't
Mhm.
think that, I don't think the parents appreciate the fact that, some on some competitions, yeah, she could make your kid look, crazy,
Mhm.
but she chooses not to. It's not something that coming from her mom or her dad or her coach.
It's
It's
just a
something,
natural awareness.
yes, she has the confidence and the calmness and, the perspective of a situation like that most adults do not have.
Wow.
She does not go in like most kids. If you look at kids, jujitsu, they're jumping around and hopping around, and the thing's so fast you don't even know what's going on.
Mhm.
For her, it's more of a calm. Like when you look at her face, and it's funny when we get pictures back from her photographer, um, her face is just calm. There is no panic. Even if she's in a bad position, you don't see a panic on her face.
She's composed.
very composed. She gets in that position and she's thinking, how am I going to get out of it? That's all that she's thinking, and that's what she does.
That's experience.
And that's the thing. Like, she is very experienced, but she's humbled at the same time. She's not going to go out and make somebody look like Boo Boo the Fool when she don't want to look like Boo Boo the Fool.
Mm-hmm. So is it? I'm assuming it's like you and her father will be at a competition with her, and then maybe they're like, she has to compete with her age group, and you probably look at him like, here we go.
And we do look at each other, and it's funny because we just look at each other like, oh, here we go. You're like, we're gonna get some hate on it, and and whatnot. And just like, and another thing too is like, we'll get all of these videos, and obviously you've seen I post a lot on TikTok, about our competitions. Well, I know how TikTok works, and I'm assuming that you can figure out how TikTok works. Nobody wants to watch a 1 to 2 minute video of a kid fight. They want the highlights of the match, and they want to get to the end point. So 9 times out of 10, I'll just I'll try to make it at least 30 seconds or under with the match. And I get so much hate on there. Like, oh, I had this one girl that we did a video, and you never know when they're gonna go viral. They just go viral. I put a video on her. Video goes viral. The mom gets mad. That match was like 1.5 minutes and blah 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 blah. I'm just like, ma'am, if you go look, this wasn't just for your kid, ma'am. If you go look at her whole entire page, you see the whole entire page is 30-second clips or less.
But she's mad. She's like, man, you put my kid on blast, losing.
Yes, right. And it's like, your kid's older than my kid, and it is what it is, and it wasn't anything malicious. It wasn't, but the thing too with jiu-jitsu, when you go to those competitions, when you sign that waiver to get in there, you're signing that you're gonna have your kids, videotaped and put on social medias.
That's on the contract.
Yes. So you get when you can go on TikTok and Instagram right now and see videos of her losing. I'm not going to get mad at the parents. It was a loss of her, and y'all were there videotaping. It is what it is. You do with it as you will. But I don't put out.
And I think go ahead. No, yeah.
No. That was it.
You said you don't what?
No, I was like, I don't do it to be malicious. That was it.
Yeah. And I guess I find it crazy, that's just such an ego thing to me, like, that you would get upset for your child being posted. Because let's say this lady's child wants to take this to the next level. I like watching MMA. When these guys lose, that's on national television. That's out there forever. Right. That's inside, right? So, I mean, if anything, you would think it's just preparing them for what the publicity and what really comes with competing in this sport.
Right, because you're going to have your losses, and you're going to have your losses on mainstream social media. You're going to have your losses on national TV. It comes with the territory of it. I don't get upset when they post about her losses. It's not something I do. And we always tell her, you're not losing anything, you're learning. It's a learning experience. So when 100%. You get on, when you lose, how did you lose? Let's go work on it.
Right. Something to go back to and learn from. So last question. First of all, it's been a wonderful interview, Zoe and Miss Victoria. But last question: how can the fans support Zoe, the Jiu Jitsu princess? How can they support you guys?
So how do you want them to support you? On your Instagram, your TikTok?
So I want them to support me
on TikTok.
Mm-hmm. On TikTok.
And tell them what your TikTok is. Jiu Jitsu Princess 14.
Jiu Jitsu Princess 14.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm already a fan.
And on Instagram,
it's Jiu Jitsu Princess.
And on Instagram, it's Jiu Jitsu Princess.
Jiu Jitsu Princess. Okay. Are there any t-shirts yet? Any t-shirts or hats yet?
Actually, she's wearing well, this is a t-shirt that was gifted to her from Battleground. And let me see. Here, stand up real quick. So that's her Battlegrounds t-shirt. Turn around. And they went and had her name put on it for her.
Oh.
So that's nice. That's one of the local tournaments that we compete in, and she's always with their she's always in their competitions and stuff like that. So
Okay. Well, I want to say once again, thank you, Zoe, for taking time out of your busy day. First of all, being a 6-year-old is tough. You got school. You may have some chores. I'm sure mom and dad got chores for you, and you have practice later. And you took time out of your day to be on my podcast. I'm thankful. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and I appreciate Miss your mother, Miss Victoria, being on with us as well.
No problem. I appreciate
it. All right. Well, you guys have a great day, and
you as well.
And I will, and fans, support them. Support Jiu Jitsu Princess Instagram and TikTok profile, and then I'm sure there'll be more content to come and more competitions coming up. What's the next competition, if you don't mind me asking?
Actually, it's going to be this weekend. She has a local, and then the 22nd of January, she has a super fight.
Oh,
yeah. So that'll be her first super fight coming up.
Is that where's that kid? Is that kid in like Colorado?
That will be in Houston, Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna mark it on my calendar, and I'm gonna definitely tune in.
Okay, appreciate that.
All right. Bye, Zoe. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.